Hey everyone, and welcome back to the channel. Today we're diving into one of the most mysterious creatures in all of folklore. A creature that by all accounts should not exist. Imagine looking up into the sky, not at a bird, not at a plane, but at a living relic from the age of dinosaurs. A leathery winged creature, with a long, crested head and a terrifying beak, soaring through the air just as its ancestors did over 66 million years ago. This is the world of living pterosaurs, a concept that exists on the very fringe of possibility, a shadow that flickers at the edge of our modern world. The official story is sealed in stone and sediment. The great pterosaurs, rulers of the Mesozoic skies, vanished in the same cataclysmic event that wiped out the dinosaurs. Their fossilized remains are all that is left, testament to a world long since past. But what if I told you that in the deepest jungles, across remote islands, and even in the skies above the American desert, people claim to see them still? These aren't just vague stories whispered around a campfire. They are detailed, often terrified, accounts from credible witnesses describing creatures that match the fossil record with chilling accuracy. Could a population of these magnificent prehistoric reptiles have survived against all odds? Could they have found a niche, a hidden corner of the world untouched by time, where they continue to hunt and fly? Today, we are not just exploring a myth. We are investigating a cryptozoological enigma. It will journey to the swamps of Africa, the jungles of Papua New Guinea, and the arid plains of North America to examine three of the most compelling cases of pterosaurs spotted in the modern era. We'll sift through the legends, analyze the eyewitness accounts, and weigh them against the unyielding facts of science. So, strap in and prepare to question everything you thought you knew about extinction. Could this actually be real? Let's begin our investigation. Number 1. The Congamato of Zambia. Deep within the dense, swampy jungles of Zambia, Angola, and Congo, local traditions speak of a terror that rules the waterways. They call it Congamato, a name that translates to overturner of boats. Ancient texts and local folklore don't describe a spirit or a demon, but a physical creature. Featherless animal with leathery skin, a wingspan stretching anywhere from 4 to 7 feet, and a long, sharp beak filled with teeth. For centuries, stories have been passed down of this creature dive-bombing fishermen and capsizing canoes, its terrifying shriek echoing through the wetlands. The descriptions provided by various tribes, separated by vast distances and with no contact with one another, are remarkably consistent. The first widely reported Western account comes from the famed adventurer and explorer Frank Melland. In his 1923 book, In Witchbound Africa*, Melland details his experiences in the Giandu swamps. The local Kayon people he encountered spoke of Congamato with genuine fear. When Melland showed them illustrations from a paleontology book depicting different prehistoric reptiles, they unhesitatingly and emphatically pointed to the pterodactyl. They were reportedly horrified that he would show them a picture of such a dangerous animal. One man claimed to have suffered a massive chest wound from a similar creature just a few years prior. This wasn't a legend to them. It was a real-world threat, a predator they had to contend with. Another notable account comes from a well-known biologist, Ivan T. Sanderson, who in 1932 was exploring the Asumbo Mountains in Cameroon. He and his companion were hunting along a river when something huge and black, with a long beak, flew directly at them, forcing them to duck into the water. He described it as having a wingspan between 10 and 12 feet and making a sound like the tearing of silk. Sanderson, a trained zoologist, was adamant that what he saw was not a bird or a bat. Number 2. The Ropen of Papua New Guinea. Journey with me now to the remote and treacherous archipelago of Papua New Guinea, a land of dense jungles, active volcanoes, and hundreds of uncontacted tribes. Here the stories speak of the Ropen, or demon flyer. Unlike the Congamato, the Ropen is often described as a nocturnal creature. Eyewitnesses report a massive, leathery-winged animal with a long tail that ends in a distinctive diamond or flange shape, a feature startlingly similar to the tail of a ramphorhynchus, a specific type of Jurassic pterosaur. Perhaps most disturbingly, the Ropen is said to exhibit bioluminescence. It is reported to glow, with some accounts describing a pulsating light that lasts for several seconds. The legends surrounding the Ropen are ancient and deeply ingrained in the local culture. It's considered a grave robber, a creature that digs up recently buried corpses to feast on the flesh. This macabre detail has made it a figure of immense dread and a central part of their folklore. Missionaries and explorers have documented these stories for over a century, noting the consistency in the descriptions across different islands and linguistic groups. One of the most compelling modern accounts comes from the 1990s and early 2000s, when American investigators like Carl Baugh and Paul Nation launched expeditions to the region. They interviewed numerous local eyewitnesses. One such witness, a man named Gideon Coro, described a creature that flew down and landed near him, its wingspan as wide as a small plane. He saw the long tail, the distinct head crest, and noted its unsettling glow as it took off into the night. Another account from missionary Dwayne Hodgkinson, a WWAI veteran, dates back to 1944. While stationed near Finchafen, he and a fellow soldier saw a massive creature take off from a clearing. Being familiar with aircraft, he estimated its wingspan at over 25 feet. He described a long serpentine neck, a head crest, and a prominent tail, claiming it was unlike any bird or bat he had ever seen. Number 3. The thunderbird of the American Southwest. While Africa and Papua New Guinea feel remote enough to hide a prehistoric secret, our final case brings this mystery much closer to home. In the arid skies of the American Southwest, particularly Arizona and Texas, legends of the thunderbird have persisted for centuries. Native American traditions are rich with stories of these giant, powerful birds, often depicted in petroglyphs and totem poles. While many accounts clearly describe a mythological, supernatural eagle, some historical reports seem to point to something far stranger, something reptilian. One of the most famous and controversial stories dates back to April 26, 1890. An article, allegedly published in the Tombstone Epitaph described how 2 ranchers had shot and killed a monstrous flying creature with smooth skin, featherless wings like a bat, and a face resembling an alligator. The wingspan was said to be an incredible 160 feet, and the creature's body was so large they had to drag it back to town with horses. The story claims they nailed its carcass to a barn wall for all to see. For decades, researchers have scoured archives for this original article, but it has never been found, leading many to believe it was a hoax. Yet the story persists, a cornerstone of American cryptozoology. But the 1890 story isn't the only one. In 1977, a wave of sightings occurred in the Rio Grande Valley of Texas. 3 schoolteachers in San Antonio reported being buzzed by a low-flying creature with enormous, leathery wings. One of the teachers, Barton, claimed its wingspan was between 15 and 20 feet. Around the same time, a man named Alvaraco Guajardo, also in the Rio Grande area, claimed to have encountered a similar creature. He described it as having large, bat-like wings, dark reddish skin, and terrifying, large red eyes. These weren't ancient legends. These were modern people, including professionals, describing an animal that paleontologists say has been extinct for 66 million years. So what does science have to say about all this? The scientific community is, to put it mildly, deeply skeptical. And for good reason. The first major hurdle is the fossil record. Pterosaurs disappear completely from the fossil record at the Cretaceous-Paleogene boundary, 66 million years ago. There are 0 pterosaur fossils found in any rock layer since then. They're a group of animals that existed for over 150 million years and lived all over the globe. A complete